Loads.
Oh, ho, 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 ho. Happy holidays, everyone. This is Comic Corner, Agents of Fandom Network, here on YouTube, Twitch, and the bad place. No meta services this week. My name is Sam, and I'm your host. What we do is comic news, reviews, interviews, all that good stuff. Today, with me on this lovely Boxing Day, for those who celebrate Boxing Day, TJ, good morning.
Hello, good morning, everybody. It is fantastic to see everyone. Happy holidays. I'm not as festive as Damon here, but I am getting over a little bit of a cold. So if my voice starts cracking, I'm not 10 years old. I'm just getting over a little sickness. So yeah, I'm excited to talk comics though.
We got a lot of comics to talk about today. They're all DC, all except one. It's a
Yeah.
very DC
What Marvel
heavy.
even come out with this week? I don't even know.
Honest to God, I looked and I was like, no, thank you. But next week is pretty much going to be a very heavy Marvel week because that's just how things work. Because next week there's like no DC books. It's crazy. I don't know what's going on. But DC released this week 3 huge absolute titles, including Absolute Wonder Woman, which finally gives us TJ our very first crossover between absolute heroes, which is very, very exciting. We will talk about that. Of course, we are returning to the weird, returning to the abstract with Absolute Martian Manhunter. That is back. Very exciting to talk about that. That's been TJ's favorite absolute title. And we finally
Oh,
get the conclusion of Absolute Superman. 14 issues. That entire first arc was. Did it live up to its like very long hype? We'll talk about it. I read it. TJ hasn't read it. He's a little bit behind, but I'll tell him what to expect. But first, let's get into the big book of the week. Absolute Wonder Woman, issue 15. This is written by Kelly Thompson, artist Hayden Sherman, colors Jordy Belair, letter Rebecca Carey, and editors Ash Padilla and Chris Conroy. Oh man, I know Absolute Martian Manhunter is your favorite Absolute title. Absolute Wonder Woman is my favorite Absolute title. And when they announced this a while ago, I was very excited. I was like, ooh, we finally get to see a little bit of a team up, a little bit of a crossover. And it's not in like a weird one off issue or an annual or anything. It's just within Absolute Wonder Woman. And then next issue of Absolute Batman will kind of be like the second half of it, which is like a nice little way to reward the readers who've been like kind of reading at least the Trinity a little bit of something. Look, the art in here is fantastic. Hayden Sherman's art on Absolute Wonder Woman, incredible. And the first splash page, which I think is technically the second page of this, it's your first splash, is so cool.
I'm so
With
glad you
how
brought
they
that
were.
up. Oh, sorry.
Yeah,
I'm just saying I'm so glad you brought it up because I was going to bring that same one up because it's just absolutely fantastic.
it is so cool how that ended up working. And just to kind of like lightly spoil it for people because the preview is out there on like Comic Geeks if you want to see it. But it's an entire splash page of Wonder Woman setting up the very first bat signal. Technically the second bat signal, essentially, but the first one where Batman was called to it and he didn't create it himself. And she does it via magic. And it is so dang cool. And then also how it's laid out is you see kind of like Batman and Alley, and it's almost like pages and pages and pages and pages of panels where like you're zooming into Batman in that instance. It is so creative and just shows how amazing the comic book medium is, like visually, storytelling wise, things you can really only do in comics. And something that like I haven't honestly like seen before in that sense. It's a little bit of like a DeLuca effect, but it's not. It's different. And I like that immediately like brought me in. The story pretty simple. there's like some weird magic stuff going on in Gotham that brings Diana over to help investigate it. But she even says, I'm not a detective, but I know you are, Mr. Batman, sir. And let's go investigate. And things get a little haywire. They end up becoming friends and even bring up a third member, possibly, that they should bring into their little close circle that they just created. I love this issue. This was like a great first like introduction to these two characters in this universe, and I thought it just fit well from the absolute Wonder Woman storyline. It didn't feel forced in terms of like, oh, we're just doing this now and this feels weird. Like it just felt natural and a good progression with this entire universe and her story itself. And as I mentioned, we will be continuing these two in the absolute Batman title coming out next month, where like that story will like half continue. TJ, I've been doing a lot of yapping. I really like this issue. I thought it was really cool, really well done. A lot of magic-y goodness stuff. What'd you make of it?
I mean, I just got to echo what you said. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was, excuse me, I thought it was like a perfect team up in the sense of, I think a lot of times it's really hard, especially, I mean, Batman and Wonder Woman, they have such a long history now, but when you have two characters you're like kind of bringing together for a team up, I think it's sometimes hard to not make one character like adhere to the other characters like kind of vibe or like what they're so like here I thought they did a really great job of Batman still felt like Batman from the Absolute Batman book, but he also fit within the vibe of what the Absolute Wonder Woman book has been. And I thought the integration was just very seamless. And I think that's something that's kind of hard to do. So yeah, I thought this was just phenomenal. I thought, the story setup I thought was really clever and fun and just a good way to get them together without it having to be like, oh my god, Lazarus Corp and like the big like end game kind of thing. Like it was just kind of a small little thing to get them introduced to each other, and I loved it. I thought, again, I think team up books are sometimes hard, especially when we're talking about this kind of absolute line that I think all of us have really been loving. And everyone has their favorites. Like you just said before we started, I love Absolute Martian. You love Absolute Wonder Woman. A lot of people, Absolute Batman's their favorite. So I think bringing them together can be difficult, but I think they absolutely knocked it out of the park. And again, shout out Hayden Sherman because their art. I'm so glad you brought up that second panel because I'm a through and through comic nerd, and I always love like creative paneling and like paneling structures. And that first one where like the panels are like coming up through the city, like that was just so cool. And yeah, I love it, and it really makes me more excited for the other crossovers to come in the Absolute line. Because again, crossovers I think are hard, and it's very easy to slip into the, oh look, here's this person, oh you like this guy, like here he is. But to have it actually make sense and be for the story, again, A+, two thumbs up.
I also like that even though it was in Gotham, this is an absolute Wonder Woman issue, so it had to deal a lot with like the magic of it all,
Yes.
which Batman is like sitting there and he was like, what is magic? And
Yeah.
Diana's like, it's like science, but not. We're doing like that type of thing. And he's just kind of like, like his brain's like working on the back. I'm like, I know he's going to try to figure this out someday, but he's letting the expert handle it in this regard. And she's letting him handle the actual like detective work too.
Yeah.
And
I was just gonna say I really also enjoyed you brought it up, the dynamic between Bruce and Diana, because I feel in Absolute Batman, Bruce is always the most powerful or like the most badass person in the room, right? But here he recognizes immediately like Diana could probably kick his ass. Like it just he's different. I know I just said like he feels like the same Batman, and now I'm saying like he kind of feels different, but I just mean like I liked seeing this interaction with him with someone who's more powerful than him as an ally, not like Bane. And I just thought we saw a lot more of like Bruce's personality, which I really enjoyed.
yeah, I do agree with that. I don't want to say he's like different because he's not
Yeah, that's what I
different,
don't
but
mean different, but
you put him in a different
yes, that's better.
surrounding, and
Hmm.
it still feels like him, but he has to react to his surrounding. He can't be like
Yes.
guy anymore because this Diana, although this Bruce is 6'7" or 6'9" or whatever he is, like this
Mhm.
Diana is like 6'10",
Yeah.
and just like just that little bit like much bigger in that regard, which
Mhm.
I still really enjoy. Look, I think I gave this issue like a 4.8, maybe a straight 5 out of 5. I really liked it. We did do a little bit of a trope with Diana where like she went bad for a little bit, and in my back of my mind, I'm like, oh, like she got like corrupted essentially. And we went all the way back to like some Wonder Woman mythology and how that plays into essentially a little area that there. I'm trying not to spoil it, but we went into like some Wonder Woman mythology and how like this certain specific type of magic could affect her background. But what I really did like is how Bruce wasn't immediately like turning like, oh, she's bad now. Like he still was like, we've been watching each other from afar. Like we both are very aware of each other. You're not like a new threat to me. I'm not a new threat to you. We've been keeping an eye on each other. So like he like knew her in a way, which I was like, okay, that like got a couple points, like you just met. But like I know the good that you do, and I know what I've seen what you have been able to do, which I think is good.
Mhm.
I give it like a 4.8 out of 5. What'd you get?
Yeah. I mean, I'd give same. I would be okay with a 5 out of 5 too. Like I said, I thought it was really good, really well done. And like you were saying, it just was a really great balance of the two. Shout out Kelly as well for being able to capture like Bruce's voice from Snyder's work. Cause again, it just really felt seamless.
We've had Kelly on the show a bunch. I am so happy that she's the one that was essentially the first to be able to bring these two together, any of the Trinity together in this absolute line. And she's talked about how much of a challenge it was to even come up with this version of Diana. And then once when she thought of essentially like, oh, what if like Diana was raised by Cersei in hell? Like then all of a sudden, like you're on a roller coaster ride and things just kind of like write itself out at that point with all of her mythology already pre-written. You're like, oh man, we could do this twist and this twist.
Mhm.
And what if we, go down and have her like Hades as the uncle in this situation and this and that's like, oh, it's so cool, right?
Mhm.
And we do know also that there is an annual coming out again with Absolute Wonder Woman done by Mattia, who, if you do not recall, was the artist who she's worked on with the Ghul, but also the artist where like you get that super realistic
So
Diana
when
where she
she was
is in
in the
hell.
underworld, right?
Yes. So
Yeah,
like
yeah.
we're going back to the whole like once a year she has to go back to the underworld
Hmm.
to like see Cersei and like deal with some things. And that's kind of like what the annuals are about to be, which I love that idea. And it also, again, you have a very drastically different art style, but you have a storytelling reason behind it. Love that. So a little bit of a preview for that. Cannot wait. Like again, 4.8 out of 5. I just really like this. I thought this was really
Hmm.
well done. If you've been enjoying the Absolute Universe, which we both have, this is a must get. It's a must buy. Like it
Yeah,
just is.
100%.
What's been a must buy?
Say
The
another must buy.
first 6 issues of Absolute Martian Manhunter were incredible. It is a very abstract comic book. It is not very direct. You have to think a lot. There's some very obvious parallels, and there's some very not obvious parallels to what's going on in the book and the real world and all that stuff. Because Dennis Camp does not keep his mouth shut in that regard, and we love that about him. We do. We see it in the Ultimates. We see it here. We see it in many of his other work. Dennis Camp is incredible with it, and then you mix that with the vibrant. Again, I keep saying abstract, but the very unique abstract art of Javi
Say I don't know what
Rodriguez.
other word to even use.
Yeah, I mean Javi Rodriguez in this guard is incredible,
Mhm.
and I love his art. And we put these two together, and what was a miniseries is now a extended miniseries. I think they just pushed it to 12 instead of just 6. We'll see if it gets pushed again. I don't know. Yeah, I know you're keeping your
Please,
fingers crossed.
please.
We're back. This was on a hiatus though, which is what I'm trying to get at. The first 6 issues was very much its own thing. We left it off a little bit of a cliffhanger with his son, who
Mhm.
seemingly has been corrupted by the White Martian. And now what's going on with John? Well, he's been separated from his wife seemingly, and him and Martian, which is just kind of like a thing in his brain, not real, just hearing voices, a thing in his brain has been going off. And we're just essentially, this issue is slowly picking up where we left off with him.
Mhm.
setting up some new things. Like, again, he is separated from his wife at this point, and not a whole lot happens other than we're back. Here's where John is. Here's some things going on in the world. Here's a deeper, darker thing lurking on in the corner at the very end. But it is a really set up first issue. There's not a lot of big bangs, pops, or anything. It is an exploration of where everyone that we've been in the story is. There is, once again, which is what I love about this series, go pick up a physical comic book. I understand it is not like not everyone has the opportunity to, but if you can, if you have a comic shop near you, we say every week, a comic shop locator, just go find one because there's a really cool thing that this comic series has been doing that only a physical medium can do, where you're able to put the piece of paper up to a light and you're able to see essentially like the reverse mirrored side of the back page leaking through and it creates one full page. You get that in this issue, and we start to see little bits and pieces of what Dennis is trying to get at with this second volume, as well as going on with his son, who is seemingly corrupted by
Mhm.
the White Martian. So, like I said, TJ, not a whole lot happens in this issue. It's an
Mhm.
exploration, it is a setup, but what'd you make of it?
I mean, again, I am very biased. I will readily admit that. Again, as the number one and member and president of the Denise Camp fan club. I'm sorry, I cannot talk this morning, but I just think that this book is just so fun and creative, and I totally agree with you. Like, not much happened in this issue. We're kind of just picking up where we left off. Like you said, it was kind of a long break, so I felt like we kind of needed a little refresher of like, okay, where, and especially we left off kind of crazy. Like the world was nuts. So I thought it was good to just kind of recap what happened, like set us up where we're going. But again, I don't know, maybe it's just the ultra comic nerd in me, like we were talking about with Absolute Wonder Woman. I just think, Javier Rodriguez's art and colors by like it's just so creative, so unique. It's not like anything else that's on the stands right now. Just it's like a kaleidoscope of colors and just
That's
insane
the word. Yep.
visuals paired with Denise's just kind of, I don't want to say necessarily mind bending because it's not confusing, but it's just you don't really know what's going on. Like there's so many possibilities of what could be going on. And I personally, I really enjoy stories like that where like I'm put in the middle of something, I don't really know what's going on, and like we're slowly peeling back the layers. I think the combination of those two things, I love this book. And I just think it's so, like you were saying with the physical copies, I really recommend if you can pick up a trade or whatever, because I think it's also the most fun book to read. And like when I say that, we say a lot of books are fun to read, but I mean like physically to read, like to physically flip through the pages. And like I said, flipping to the next page, seeing the insane colors and, geometric shapes and stuff that Rodriguez is putting out there. And then add on top of that the like little flip pages and stuff. It's like fun to have in your hand. It's fun to go through it. And I think that's something that a lot is lost a lot in comics today. Like people don't really take that into consideration very often. So yeah, I love this book for so many reasons. And like you said, while I wouldn't say it's like a groundbreaking issue as far as the story, it's just like I said, every issue I pick up is just I am floored by the creativity, and like I said, the it's just so different from everything else. So yeah,
There's
I
a
know that was a long tangent,
yeah.
but two thumbs up, a 4.8. I'll give it a 4.5, like we said, for like the story reasons, because it's kind of just recapping. But man, I cannot recommend this book enough for anyone out there.
But yeah, I totally agree with that. I love the kaleidoscope aspect of it because that really is like Javi Rodriguez's art. If you haven't read Javi and Rika Tamaki's Zatanna Bring Down the House, it's the same idea. It's the
Yes.
same art style. So if you really like this art style and you want something maybe just like a little different or something that's already completely done, go check that out because that book won an Eisner this past year and well deserving so. That was a really excellent title.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
There's something in every Martian Manhunter book that's maybe not the entire issue like will blow me. Sometimes an entire issue will blow me away, but there's usually like a moment or two. And in this one, as you said, like we left the world off in such like a raging fire. Like everyone was corrupted by the White Martian, and what the White Martian does for those who do not know in this universe is it literally just takes every bit of like fear, anger, like your worst possible emotion you can take out of yourself, and it just makes you act on it. It makes you do your worst possible things based on like your fear or your anger of whatever, whoever it is, right? And the world right now, after all this has happened, is it's very solemn. Everyone was just exposed to their worst thing and acting upon it. But everyone has. So everyone's like very solemn in the world right now. No one's like it's embarrassment, essentially what it is. Everyone's been exposed, everyone's embarrassed. So there isn't like a lot of craziness go on. Everyone's just like heads down all the time. And I think that's a fascinating way to start this second arc, knowing what's probably going on with his son, and now also setting up this bigger thing in like the epilogue at the end. I really enjoyed it. I'm really happy that they made a second volume of this because I do enjoy Dennis Camp. I really enjoy Javi Rodriguez. I'm fascinated to see what they're going to tell after this because even right now, I don't know after this issue where we're going.
Yeah,
We have
I
a little
mean,
bit of a tease, but it was just like a hint.
yeah, it's really up in the air. And again, that's what I like about the book is it's just very you don't know what to expect issue by issue. And again, everything is in question. I mean, it's like, does the Martian even exist? I don't know. Like it's
Kind of.
very yeah, I would say I honestly don't know. And again, that's what I love about it. It's just very I keep saying this word, but just like very creative take on like what an alien or like Martian would or could be. Like it's not just a little green person. It's just like an idea, like an abstract,
It's an
just like
idea. Exactly.
yeah, it's
Everything is
just
just an idea. It's not like
yeah,
necessarily there or not there,
exactly. And that
but it's
just
on
that
another plane of
concept
existence.
yeah, like I could just play in that world for days. Like I think that is just so cool. So yeah, I mean, I could rate we could just make this whole episode about this issue and this book, honestly. Yeah, I love it. Love it, love it, love it. Go pick it up. Don't be intimidated by it. I would say that. I think this is a book that could intimidate some people just because it is weird in a good way.
Mhm.
But yeah, jump in. It's awesome.
I give it like a 4.1, 4.2 for this issue, just because, as we mentioned,
Mhm.
it's a lot of just where we are right now. Not a lot has happened, and I still don't necessarily know where we're going, but I'm still hooked. So 4.1, 4.2 out of 5
Love
for
it.
me
Is
on
it bad? I don't mean to go on a little tangent here. Is it bad though that this might be the one book I kind of don't want to see crossover with the others? Like,
I don't mind seeing this character show up in
I
like a larger thing, but
mhm.
I like maybe like in a background or
Yeah, like I
something.
wouldn't hate
But
it,
this is also
obviously.
this is the only character so far. Again, neither of us have been reading Absolute Green Lantern. Um, but as of where both of us have been reading,
Mhm.
John's the only one that has mentioned Darkseid.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's what I mean. For me, I feel like this book is so like kind of in its own kind of thing.
Yeah.
Obviously, it connects and is in the absolute universe, but I kind of want it to just stay its own little thing. Like we have these connections with Darkseid already, like kind of popping up deal with like the big universe because like again the Martian's kind of like an abstract thing, so I think it would I like dealing with the cosmic dark side stuff in this book, and then the team up hero fighty punchy is left with the Trinity, I mean, I don't know what the hell I'm talking about. I'm just some dude on the internet, but I don't know. I kind of want like I don't know if an absolute Martian Manhunter and absolute Flash team up would work. You know what I mean? Like they're just very like so different. But again, we'll see what's in the cards.
We'll see what's in the cards. And we'll see what's going on with Absolute Superman
Superman,
after
spoil
this
it for me.
issue. I won't necessarily spoil it for you because there's some really powerful moments in here, but this is finally, honestly, the conclusion of the Ra's al Ghul arc and story that Jason Aaron and Rava Sandoval have been putting together with colors from Elisa Sariola and letter Becca Carey, editors Ash Padilla and Chris Conroy, of course, on all the absolute titles. I'm glad that this Ra's al Ghul arc is over. I thought it was like good. I thought it was maybe just a little bit long, but where it leaves us is in a position I've been waiting for this Superman to leave us. And if you remember, maybe not so much like my criticisms, but like my hopes, ironically, for this series is waiting patiently for this Superman to be about hope. Right? I need a little bit more hope and a little bit more levity in this Superman, which is a very heavy sci-fi Superman, dark Superman, but not evil. Just it's one of those. This is a Superman where you could almost like imagine if he hits a breaking point, you're like, yeah, you've been through a lot. Right? This is Superman who's seen Krypton blew up. Superman, where while he was on Krypton with his parents, they were working class. They worked in the mines. They were shunned, looked down upon by the Science Society. And when he finally gets to Earth, it's just a crap hole. And he's being chased everywhere for just trying to help anyone and everyone, but he's being chased by peacemakers. Finally ends up in Smallville, where he's taken in by the Kents, gets a little bit of love, gets a little bit of taste, only to be ripped away by the peacemakers and Lazarus Court. And this is like, again, one of those Superman where it's like, man, if you had any excuse to break that rule, like you've gone through it, but he still doesn't. And that is still what makes Superman Superman. Right? He has every notion in his brain to break that rule, to be like anger and destroy, but he doesn't. And that's what Superman is, right? He is that hope, but he's also that restraint. And the hope comes from restraint. And he does that in the end in this issue without spoiling anything. And we finally get a moment at the end where I'm like, oh, Jason, I text a buddy of mine. I'm like, Jason Aaron, you make me cry at like 8 a.m., man. What the flip? Come on, dude. But there's like the last few pages of this will punch you in the gut. It'll punch you in the gut pretty good. And I am excited to see Superman going forward after this and how he reacts to everything that he's done and gone through and his mission going forward, right? For what he is trying to do. I think Jason Aaron has said he wants this to be his Jane Foster of DC, his story, right? Like the impact of it.
Mm-hmm.
This last few pages gave me that punch. Now it's a matter of how you continue that, right? Because it wasn't just like, oh, Jane Foster, she has cancer, right? That's the punch. But what do you do after that? What made that run so good other than just, there you go, you got knocked in the face? How do you react to that, right? I've been in on this series. I'm fascinated. I'm like dying for this next arc because if it's as good as I hope it can be that.
Damn. Hell yeah, dude. I'm so you just put me like over the moon excited to catch up on these issues. I'm not too far behind actually. So, I'm not, way out in the weeds, but everyone out there that knows me knows that I am a major fan of Jason Aaron's Thor run. One of my absolute favorites, specifically the Mighty Thor with Jane Foster. I cannot speak about that run more highly. And I definitely see the shared DNA between this version of Superman and the Mighty Thor. I mean, even just this first arc. I mean, we had a very similar arc with her and I want to say not Mangog, but the early her first kind of adventure was very similar to this. And I have obviously big fan of Aaron, so I have no doubt that he's taken this into some really unexpected areas. But I don't know. I really love this version of Superman, and like I agree with you. That's kind of the hope was kind of the little missing ingredient I felt in these last couple, 13 issues. But I also think that there's a point where some people take the hope thing a little too far. And like I always reference, I really love, there's a quote from Grant Morrison, and they basically are like, yeah, like Superman's hopeful, like Superman is, the best of the best. But like, he'll also punch you in the mouth. You know what I mean? Like he's not like just like, oh, like, stop that, son. Like, no, like he stands up for people. And like if you're bullying someone, like he's gonna come and deck you, right? And I think this Superman really fits that for me. And like since he's kind of still coming into his own, it reminds me of kind of like excuse me, main universe Supergirl, like where, she's a little bit more aggressive and whatnot because she was, cognizant when Krypton exploded. She wasn't a baby. So I think adding that kind of element to this version of Superman is really interesting. And again, it fits Aaron's wheelhouse a lot. So while I just went on this whole spiel. I haven't even read the issue, but yeah, I'm super pumped and I've liked what we've been going, but it seems like this issue really, like you said, puts that little missing ingredient that the first 13 issues haven't necessarily harped on.
I think with this arc is just Ra's al Ghul as a villain. I understand what they did with him. They essentially kind of made him, in a way, the Mandarin from Shang-Chi, the movie, where he's just like a being who's just been
Yo,
around for like
yes.
hundreds of years type of thing.
Hmm.
And
That's a
like
great parallel.
immortality, like a power of immortal power. And they're like, okay, it's still like I don't want to say it's like weird that like Ra's al Ghul is like a Superman villain because Brainiac is like fairly heavily involved in this, and there's a little bit of a where we going after this. We do know, and this isn't a spoiler, but in absolute evil, Lex Luthor is coming down the line in some way, shape, or form. I'd like to see him start to become that overarching villain for Superman in this. Now that like hopefully we kind of dealt with the Elgul's and Lazarus Corp. So we'll see. We'll see. I'm again this next few issues of like the next arc will be a huge deciding factor for me on like, okay, is this living up to what Jason was aiming for?
Hmm.
A 4.4 4.3 4.4 issue.
4.4.
The if I had to grade like the last 3 pages, essentially, it'd be like a straight 10 out of 5.
Hmm.
Right? Like it was like in a perfect way, incredible way for those last few pages, and like again, punch me in the gut.
Mm.
But everything prior to that was like, all right, yeah, this is good, big punchy fighty. And then there's like some moments, and I'm like, yep, that's Superman. But
Hmm.
like last few issues or last few pages, I'm like, okay, you did the thing.
So
Let's see it.
let me ask you, without spoiling, I guess. But so you meant, we're talking about the Mighty Thor run, and like you said, the kind of in that book, the kind of punch was like, oh, like Jane Foster has cancer, right? But on top of that, the real twist of that was not only does she have cancer, but every time she picks up the hammer, it
Yeah, she,
accelerates that cancer. So
yes.
my question to you is, you said we have a very similar kind of punch. Is
Uh,
there also like a,
Not similar in storytelling.
okay, okay. I just thought you meant like, we, leave with an emotional punch with Superman. And my question was just going to be, do you think we're going to get a kind of twist on that punch we're left with? Or is it kind of different
Maybe.
situation?
Maybe, but to me, if we did, that's 2 all-star Superman.
Okay. Like rehashing old
A little
ground.
bit, where it's
Okay.
like, kinda like every time, like, Superman, like, had, like, save himself by getting sun put on him. He was getting sun radiation, and
Yeah.
he
I
eventually
don't
died.
necessarily mean, I guess, like the exact, like, oh, he like loses his power, just like, again, like twisting on the punch, right? Does that make sense?
I would not be surprised if there is another layer to it,
Mhm.
but, like, you'll obviously see what I mean.
Yeah,
Probably, like,
I'll.
when I say the last few
Mhm.
pages, it puts another note on the symbol that was on his chest, right? What
Mm,
that meant to him, which
okay.
was the symbol of his family. They
Mhm,
degraded it. They, as in my society, this symbol meant you were lesser.
mhm,
But here on Earth, what does this symbol mean?
okay, I like it. God
That's
damn it,
more or
man.
less of like kind of what we're getting at here. And I'm
Mhm,
like, yeah, that's like that's a great way to look at it. And how him, who's still very young and angry, how he has to come to terms with that.
I don't think we have a solid answer on this. Maybe it's hidden in the word bubble somewhere, but do we know, like compared to absolute Bruce Wayne, how is Superman younger than him? Like, or do we know that at all?
I don't know if we have an exact age on Kal-El here yet.
I think it would be fun, interesting if he was younger than Bruce.
I definitely know he's shorter. He's
I
he's the little, like, we have, like,
like
giant Diana and super giant Bruce, and then we just kinda have, like, this little,
Dude,
like beep.
they I hope make Superman a short king, dude.
That's
Make
kind of what we're I mean, look at
Yeah,
him next to, Ra's al Ghul
true.
here.
Oh, I need that. I need that art drawn up
He's like,
immediately. That
"Beep."
is amazing. Yes. Oh,
It's like
hell
an
yeah.
angry little
Pint
ball of
pint-sized powerhouse, man.
exactly. That's I do like the visual of the 3 of them standing next to each other someday, of, like, one of them just being a
Yeah,
little
and
shoot.
especially making it Superman, I think I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Very good issue though. Again, really excited to see where we're going on here. Anyone who has any other thoughts, who's watching this after effect, let us know what you've been thinking because I know a lot of people this book has been climbing on their charts as well. Last book from Boom Studios. How about a little spook for your holiday season? This is Hello Darkness, issue 17. This is pitched as a holiday issue. There's really only one holiday story in here outside of Robert Hack's one page of like little one off panels, which are always hilarious. There's three of them in this that they're all three are excellent. One of them is wild. The big one. I'll send you a
Yeah,
page.
those
That
are always
page.
my favorite of
I'll
the.
send you that page, but the first one, I was like, "Dang!" But the first story is like the most holiday-esque because it takes place during a holiday season. It's pretty vague, but it does take place during a holiday season, and it's good, but it's essentially about like family curses, and there was like this old grandpa who was just grumpy, and he's like,
Old
"Meh," and
grandpa.
old grandpa who's like very like essentially rotting, and the son is like, "Why are you not spending the holiday with us?" And they're in a mansion, like they're very rich people, and he's like, "No, I got to do my work." And the grandpa talks about a curse, and he's trying to live longer, and everyone hates the grandpa. But in the end, the grandpa seemingly is doing his best to prolong his life so that the family curse doesn't affect him, like his son or his grandchild. Because, TJ, the son murders the grandpa because he's like, I hate you. You're terrible. Die already, old man. And then the curse starts coming on him and slowly starts to infect the family by the end. Uh, very, very, very dark, but like it's a Hello Darkness issue. No crap.
Yeah, literally in the title.
Yes. I think that was my favorite of the bunch. There's also another one at the end that is pretty solid as well. Again, if you want a little bit of spook, a little bit of horror, a little bit of grotesquerie to your holiday season, go pick up Hello Darkness. I do like my horror comics, and I think this one is pretty solid. And what again, this is an anthology. So if there's one story in here that you're not vibing with, you can very easily just be like, oh, on to the next one.
I love horror anthologies. I think like if any genre lends itself to an anthology, it's horror. So, like you said, I love picking up these books and maybe not every story is my bag, but there's always at least one that I'm like, "Oh, hell yeah, that was great."
Mm. All right. Yeah, I gave this like a 3.5, 3.8 around there. I again the first story is my favorite. And then of course the hack one page of hilarity. Perfect. After that. Next week we mentioned no DC next week. They have like one book out next week and it's a trade. I'm like, that's it. I don't know what DC had some pretty bad planning or whatnot, but we have three Marvel books. I have three Marvel books at least. The big one, TJ, it is Ultimate Endgame, the beginning of the end
We're
of the
there, baby.
Marvel Ultimate Universe. I am curious though, because the Ultimates is also out next week. Gonna maybe like hit up Denise somewhere and be like, which one should we read
I
first?
think he actually addressed that. You'll have to.
Find it.
I'm not on anything besides the Hell site, but
Okay, if you
I
find it on the Hell site, let me know and I'll look
I
everywhere else.
say check on their people. I think he addressed this, but I'll look into it and try and get an answer.
All right, good, because I am curious, like, which one to read first between Ultimate Endgame and the Ultimates number 19. And then in Marvel main continuity, hey, I have a poll in that for a first time in a hot minute. Steve Orlando back on the Scarlet Witch train with Sorcerer Supreme number 1. Scarlet Witch officially Sorcerer Supreme. How she became that? I don't know. I didn't read any of the well, I read like the first 3, 4 months of Doom, and I was like, "Oh my god, there's 5 more
Yeah,
months."
I mean it was
So
cooking in
soon
the
we'll have to
beginning,
get
man, but
a recap.
geez, I can't do these monthly like multiple month releases. Like it's too much, man.
It was a long
Yeah, I have
9
them
months of that.
sitting on my desk back there too, and I'm just like, ugh. And like it's almost becoming another Venom War situation.
This is longer.
But yeah,
It's going on for
ugh.
9 months.
Yeah, or I don't know if anyone. I'm old now, but if anyone remembers, what was it? Doomsday Clock from DC.
Oh, yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh my god, that was rough, man. And I loved that series when it started, but Jesus Christ. But I have the same polls. I have exactly the same thing, except Sorcerer. I don't know, man. I'm like fighting myself because I just had to take so many things off my poll list because it was insane. But I love Steve Orlando. I love his writing, and I love him on Scarlet Witch. So oh man, I'm fighting. I don't know. I want to add this back to my poll. I'm definitely gonna read it regardless. Like I'll check it out and whether I put it on my polls again. But oh man, I love Steve on Scarlet Witch. Like it's
We're gonna need to
just
get him back to talk about it. We haven't had
yes.
Steve on in a hot minute.
Yeah, we've had him on a couple times, luckily. The shameless plug, go check him out. But yeah, we need to reconvene with him, especially. I mean, we've went through the Scarlet Witch and Vision. Now she's sort like I would love to hear his perspective on that transition into her being Sorcerer Supreme. Like when did he know that? Like did you know what I'm saying?
Because we
Yeah.
originally had, like, that whole, like, competition that was like, "Oh, who's it gonna be?" Gambit's
Mm-hmm.
on there, God, who else was on? I think Storm was on there, Magic was on there, like, we had some wild polls.
Mm-hmm.
Valeria was on there, and then all of a sudden one day it's just like, "Ah, just kidding, it's Wanda." I was like,
Yeah.
"Oh,"
It's like
and I
it
think we
was
were
that
all, like, a little disappointed.
always
I was like, "Oh, I was looking forward to finding out who."
Yeah, like, was that always the plan? Was that more like Marvel was like, "Hey, like, we're probably gonna make, Scarlet Witch Sorcerer Supreme," and then, like, Steve kinda went from there? I don't know, I would just be very like, the background of how that all went down. But yeah, Endgame, baby, we've made it. I don't
We made it.
well, I'm not gonna go on a tangent. We'll save that for next week.
We'll save it for next week. But we do have a lot of good stuff next week from Marvel, DC on a little bit of their end year break. And for those X-Men, I think the Age of Revelation finale is out next week. So we can finally move over to Shadows of Tomorrow, which is Another X initiative.
Storm, Earth's Mightiest Mutant. That's all you need to be
There you go.
concerned about. Pick it up, February.
And Magic and Colossus from
Yes,
Ashley Allen
yes,
and
we
Jermaine
love it.
Peralta. So there's some X books I think we'll be dabbling with, but maybe not to the full extent as we did when the From the Ashes initiative started. As always, we mentioned earlier in the show, but please go support your local comic shop, comicshoplocator.com, nearest comic shop near you, where you can pick up some physical copies of this very physical media. We were talking about how important it was for like the absolute Martian Manhunter series and how cool it is, and how like Scholastic Book Fair, some of that stuff just feels that's so cool. So go check it out. If you have one near you, go find one. TJ, thank you as always. Hope you enjoy the rest of your day and everyone enjoys the rest of their holiday season. We'll find a day next week. Is next week the January 1st? Yeah,
I
next
have no
week is
idea. I
New
don't know what the
Year's.
time is.
New Year's, new us. We'll see if we'll be up that early in the morning. We'll figure
I'll
it
be
out.
up. That might be a solo Fat Thor show. All you crazy kids out there drinking and
Being a little sleepy, but we'll figure it out. We'll find a schedule. For those who are still with us, please check out our Percy Jackson show that we have coming out every episode. Uh, that show is killing it on Disney Plus. It outdid Taylor Swift, TJ.
let's go. Finally, the world is healing. Yeah, we loved the first 3 episodes. We still got to watch the newest one because we were obviously watching all the Christmas stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, Percy's killing it, dude. I love that cast. Like those kids, I think are great.
We also have plenty of interviews for Avatar Fire and Ash, and me and Jam's reaction and discussion to that third Avatar movie in that franchise. And coming out in January, keep an eye out. Marvel MCU finally coming back. We should have a little bit of a discussion on some more of these trailers that keep popping out during all the Avatar movies. We should hopefully, by the time Wonder Man comes out, have like all 4 alleged rumored trailers out and about by then. But Wonder Man coming out in January, so keep an eye out for that. As always, go support your local comic shops, go read some floppies, enjoy the rest of your holiday. Stay safe, be warm, be happy. We'll see you next week.